Our conversation a while back actually started with you telling me about your own learning process with the electric acid surfboard test. Taking the board model was called a Shitake.
Yep.
Taking a couple of inches off of it. I guess normally the low end of it is 6'6". The one you made for Noah was 6'4". And by doing that, the fins that you normally ride in it ended up being too big.
Yeah.
And so Noah was having issues with, it wasn't as maneuverable.
Yeah, that and also how he was trying to surf it.
Right.
So the bigger fin, it's a lot smoother and flowier. He was trying to be quite aggressive with it.
Right.
It's not really what it's for. You want to slow yourself down, smooth things out. It's not made to do airs. It's like big open face carves, real smooth, early entry. But when you cut it down, it does become a little bit more sensitive and reactive. So you kind of start surfing a little bit more like a shortboard. And that's where the smaller fin does come into play. You get a little bit more spring, allows you to throw it around a little bit more.
Let's tease it apart for listeners. I want them to understand how everything happens in concert with design. So it's not enough just to say, I like this type of rocker. Well, if you change the outline, then it's a different type of rocker that you would want, or if you change a contour on the bottom, then you should change the rocker too.
Yeah.
So and also the idea of people, this ties in with people talking about the volume that they like. It's like, I understand why you want to understand that, but it matters whether you're riding a fish or a quad or a thruster or whatever. So let's talk about your own learning experience with that board specifically. Tell us about the board design.
Yep.
And then also you said that you went through a learning curve of setting up your own fin. It's a twinser, and you had to learn how to set up your own fins based off or reset the fins based off that experience.
Yeah. So that one specifically, so I knew it was going to Hawaii, and I knew Noah never rides that. He never will ride anything other than his standard 6'1" shortboard.
You worked with LSD.
Yeah, so I work with LSD and I do their custom orders for the US. So I'm very familiar with the boards that he rides. Anyway, so I was talking to a few friends who surf with him all the time. They're like, man, he never rides anything other than his shortboard. And I listened to them and they're like, oh, I'd cut it down. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I should do that. And anyway, I cut it down. So normally I would make him like a 6'7" in that sort of thing, 6'7", 6'8". I cut it down to 6'4", so it would kind of be a little more familiar and a little bit more maneuverable. Because who knows, I didn't know how he's going to try and surf it. In hindsight, I would make the bigger ones so that he'd be forced to slow himself down and surf it how it's meant to be surfed. I was kind of hoping it would be either like some little bit of pipe where he could get in early and just kind of backdoor a section and just get some good barrels on it. Anyway, I cut it down, and in doing so I hadn't really played with that yet in that shape. This shape's meant to be kind of around the 6'6" plus, kind of like a long fish shape.
Okay.
And cutting it down makes it more reactive, more kind of shortboard feel. You lose a bit of that glide that they have, and that's kind of like the thing that makes them really good.
That's the sweet spot, yeah.
So there's like a real sweet spot between 6'6" and 7'0". It's like, feels amazing. As soon as you come down, I've played with it a lot since, and you lose that glide. They actually feel better in bigger waves, but then the fins are different. You use the same fin. The fin I had been using is bigger. It feels a bit stiff, but it also creates too much lift, and you actually need to come down in size to reduce that lift. I also had like a bigger Twinser canard fin on there. I've since cut that right down. It's still like kind of in the same position. I think I've maybe shifted them back a touch, but the actual size of the fins changed. A flexier fin feels really good, especially in smaller stuff. gives you a bit more spring. But it also depends on the surfer and the style of surfing you want to do with this board. So I've been getting a lot of guys coming off shortboards wanting to get these things, and they don't want to go the 6.6. They want to go like 6.2, 6.3. Well, if you're going to go that size and the surfing they're going to do on it, it's going to be a little bit more aggressive. And I've found the waves that works in is kind of like good waves here. It's going to be head high plus, and you want that smaller fin. But if you're going somewhere like Sano, like I'll take my 6.6 down there and I ride a big fin and it's just big, drawn out, smooth turns, and the thing feels great. Feels so much. It's so much fun.